Hey everyone, welcome on Mondays with Matt. Matt's here with me. Matt, last time we skipped this topic, but I'm going to come back to it. It's the post of the week. You know, you post a lot on LinkedIn. You have a lot of people engaging with you, but this particular post kind of went a little bit off the charts. I think it had like 6,000 plus views, over 80 comments between you and the people engaging back and forth. The post was titled "Badges: The Participation Trophy of Higher Ed," which alone got probably some people riled up. Why do you think it got people riled up? And more importantly, what were some of the main conversations you were having with people as you got different perspectives on what you had shared?
Yeah. I think the main reason was that I was actually calling out the current badging strategy. The game has changed. I'm a former registrar and I understand what it means to issue credentials, validate credentials. So I'm not taking this lightly. I look at it and I'm seeing a missed opportunity. And there was a lot of people that got a little upset because I brought the Boys and Girls Scouts in there and so forth. And they got so focused on that, they actually wasn't even addressing what I was saying, is that you're just throwing out badges just to throw out badges, right? And that's what I was really trying to say is we got to make these badges mean something. And there is certain things. The themes that came out was the badge strategy right now is flawed. Why? Replicating the current higher ed traditional model. So, Gary Bowles identified it. President Jordan identified it. President Bull in our session talked about it. Your current badge strategy of issuing and verifying, and you're in the network. That is an old higher ed traditional model based on transcripts, degrees, those current models. And we have the power to change that. And that was what I was really focused on. That was the one element of it. The other one was there's a conflict of interest in the methodology and the strategy. The issuers are also the verifiers. Right there, there's a conflict of interest. Right. So that came out in the conversation as I brought it out. And then I believe the conversation was really about you have a group of people just boxed into their own perspective. The ed tech vendor is talking to the registrar talking to the ed tech vendors. And what do you get? You get the old higher ed model. And you have them at the badge summit and everything else. And if you look at the 2019 badge summit, 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, and current, it's the same topics. And you know what? They're moving at higher ed speed. They're not even moving at higher ed speed. They're moving at badge conference speed. They're moving.
That's a new speed, huh?
That's a new speed. You know what? We're waiting for next. I can't wait till next year. Well, I'm not waiting for next year. That's not what we should be doing. And that was really an element of the conversation. Oh, we're doing good work. Well, how many learners are in your network? How many schools are in your network? How many credentials are you tapping to industry? How many people have been verified and validated through
And
this
hired.
model?
Yeah.
Right? So those three were the ones. And then, of course, the one that I'm always on is what makes a badge a badge? Tell me what demonstrates competency of that badge. But at a registrar, the people in these sessions, they're not really addressing it. I wanted us to really understand, your badge system is flawed. And I'm calling it out.
One of the things that you're really passionate about, obviously, is the validation of the learning or the competency gain or the skill development as part of me getting the badge, right? So I got the badge. What does it mean? And how do you validate what I learned? What can these people, or what needs to happen for this validation piece to be solved? How do you solve for, let's call it, the lack of validation in these badges, or credibility, let's say, right? Because poor validation means low credibility. Industry is going to look at it going, this means nothing to me.
Well, it means nothing to them because they don't know what it means. They just got a really fun, little sticker, and inside of it, there might be a web page that says, oh, this person took this, they learned this, but there is no alignment to actual industry standards of what needs to be taught. There is no outside validator saying, you know what, this person passed this exam, and hence they qualify to navigate in the industry, right? I mean, you have it in many places. You have the bar exam, you have the MCAT, you have these standards, right? Well, build them. And this is the problem with higher ed. They think it's a long time to do it. The reality of it is, it isn't long. The things that we can do today in higher ed, and we can accelerate things with the future of work and the things that we think about, it can be designed but you got to sit in a room and figure out, what does this badge model mean? What are the outcomes? And it could have different outcomes for different industries. It could have different outcomes for the learner. It could have different outcomes for the institution. You better start asking those type of hard questions. But they don't invite many other people in because they want to talk about it among themselves as how I would have done it in the 1990s. Let me give you my transcript. And
Yeah.
we saw this when we've already put in blockchain. We're already 100,000 students on navigating on a digital credentials. That isn't the hard part. It's bringing and bridging the ecosystem in. And I believe we have to start to think about that in terms of outcome. You got to tie it to industry. You have to have a purpose, and you have to define, what does that badge mean when someone does it? And maybe we use AI and use the sentiment technology to determine, hey, if we're going to teach all of these things, give me that PDF, tell me what you're going to teach. You know what? I'm going to use AI, and I'm going to tell you how to do this. I'm going to tell you what the assessment is. I'm going to tell you how to validate that someone knows it, because we're also going to talk to industry. This connection between industry, institution, and individuals, I call it the educational value chain. Those have to start tying together for the badging credentialing system to work. I believe we shouldn't even call it a badge. We should be calling it a digital credential ecosystem, because
And
different
to your
things.
point, you want to call it a validated, verified digital credential, which means if I've been through whatever the program is, industry can trust that I have what industry is looking for. And the only way industry is going to trust it, and I think this is your point that I'm getting, is this is the missing link. There's a bunch of smart people in a room talking, but there's not enough industry validation that these credentials are merited in industry. Once you create the feedback loop where industry says, okay, you sent me 7 people with this badge and it actually works. These kids actually know what they're doing. Oh, wow, your badge is valuable to me now. That feedback loop being missing, you could have all the smart people in a room talking. It's completely worthless, right? That's my takeaway from reading your article, reading through the comments, and even hearing from you now.
Yeah, absolutely. We live in a feedback reputation economy. You have to build a reputation economy. I don't care if you have standards and fields. Those are all table stakes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? We're going to build it. And we're going to build some standard that everyone recognizes this is what it is. But we want to start to say, hey, this badge was issued. And you know what? These pilots who took this certification excelled here. I want
Yeah.
those pilots being the pilots in my cockpit, right? I want nurses who pass certain things that is validated by the industry. Right now, we have a bunch of people. We have instructional designers. We have registrars, and you know what? Maybe I'm hard on them, but the reality of it is they're not the ones that are going to change the way we do badging. They're going to hold conferences, and that's about it. And that's all you've seen. You've seen nine badge summits. Tell me what we're doing outside of the use cases that we have today.
Well, Mondays with Matt. Thank you for that. I think you've got people thinking. I'm sure you've continued to rile up some feathers as always, which is a good thing because we need to keep this conversation going. Share your comments. What do you agree with, disagree with? And let's keep the conversation going. And hopefully, if you would like to be part of this ecosystem that Matt wants to pull together of industry and education and students all working together to create the right solution, let Matt know. I'm sure he'll be happy to have you join.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
Beyond is built on an innovative mindset. We're not waiting. Like, we're not consensus driven. We're not, I gotta get my friends to be along for the ride. No, I'm going to bring the smartest people in the room to make the most impact for the learner, for the industry, for the people that we need to serve. You know what? I'm willing to step back and let others lead it. Yes, I welcome anyone into our ecosystem. We're already doing it. We're going to start doing it even more. We're going to do it faster. We might even have our own summit. Yeah, come and join us because we're the ones that are going to start to push this, and we're going to invite everybody, even the ones that go to the other summits. We'll invite them, and you know what? Be ready to be challenged. Be ready, because if you're not challenged, you're going to do the same thing you did last year.
That's right. Awesome. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you.